Well, the Panther men's basketball golf outing kind of signals the start of a new season and becoming something of a tradition that Bill Johnson and I kind of sit down and chat a little bit, look ahead to the next year. And, Bill, I know the players and coaches, I think safe to say, eager to turn the page from last year. There were plenty of struggles. You have to look no further than the record to see that. So I'm sure they are very excited to say we are now looking forward to a new year.
Well, it's a serious enterprise, Kevin, because Division I college athletics is a serious enterprise. But I think that what happened for a large part of last season is a lot of guys lost the fun. And I think that when they were good, you and I both noticed it. When they were good, they were having fun. And I think that's what they need to find. It needs to be that balance. They need to get their work in. They need to know what they're doing. But they need to remember that they do this because they love it.
One of the positives that we did see develop as last year went on, I think we knew it could happen. It was good to see it to where you now feel eager to see them take another step this year. Guys like J.J. Panoski and Austin Arians. I mean, two true youngsters with plenty of good days ahead, and yet by the end of the year, they had become two of the Panthers' better players.
Well, it's the only good thing about a season like the Panthers had in 2012, 2013, is you get to a point where you can afford to take your lumps, whatever lumps they might be, with those younger, more talented players. The concern with both of those guys and with some of the other guys was never their offense. The concern was always on the defensive end. And are either one of those guys always going to be stoppers on defense? No. But JJ has the potential to be one of the better shot blockers in the country. And Austin, I think, as the season progressed, you saw that there could be improvement to where he could be a good enough defensive player.
We talk about the rest of last year's roster and guys that are coming back. A guy that's an ultra focus for every team. We could see it how they defended him, Jordan Aaron. We saw some of the abilities they have, hopefully with an offseason for him to have learned what he's going to have to do, and then the coaches and studying film and breaking some things down, finding a way to get him in even better position so he can be as successful offensively without maybe some of the turnover, some of the stress of him having to have the ball in his hands all the time.
Well, that's the whole thing. He had the ball altogether too much last year. There was really no choice for the most part, starting off with the injury to Paris Gully, and then as the season progressed, it was J.O. or nobody. And I think that you and I both agreed that if you can get somebody else in there to do the bulk of the ball handling and you let him move around and you try to create shot opportunities for him, that he can be a real special player in the Horizon League.
And then the other thing as we look ahead toward the coming season, it is the unknown. And listen, when you come off a rough year, they're introducing a lot of new players to the mix. You and I were just talking. We'll learn about more of them as time goes by. What we know is the Panthers will be counting on some new faces, whether it's a Steve McWhorter who was around last year or some of the true new guys that are just here this summer. That starting lineup, that rotation is going to include guys that weren't playing last year.
Right, absolutely. And I feel kind of badly for Steve just because it seems like every time a guy redshirts, people make him out to be Dr. J, and then he comes in and you discover he's not Dr. J, and there's a little bit of disappointment. But I think Steve's going to be one of those guys that's going to take some of that ball handling responsibility off J.O., and it's going to be big. But yeah, I mean, you're going to have to get performances out of those newer players, but I think the real improvement is in those guys that you mentioned before. Hopefully J.J. Panoski is that much stronger now so he can continue to be the shot-blocking force that he is, but maybe mix it up a little bit more on the inside. Hopefully Austin has improved enough defensively so he can be out on the floor all the time. So you've got that deadly three-point shooter out there. The year one guys are important. I think the year two and the year 2.5 guys like J.J. are even more important.
And then final thing, making it official today, something I think you and I kind of knew it was heading in this direction, and that's returning the home games down to the U.S. Cellular Arena. I think how I would phrase it is we know how many great memories have been in that building. I mean, that's the building, that's the place I associate with Panther basketball, even though when we both started, the team was back at the Clotchy Center in one of the previous go-rounds. But that's where I identify with Panther basketball and some of the great memories and great moments over time.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun to get back down to U.S. Cellular Arena in downtown Milwaukee. Hopefully the students last year got in tune with coming to the games again, and they'll realize that they do have those free shuttles available, that UW-Milwaukee is making it easy for those students to get down to the games. But hopefully we'll get back everybody else that was coming to the games and enjoyed the game so much at the Cell, and hopefully get some of that good luck of the Cell back too.
Yes, that would be helpful as well. Always the pitch man. Bill, we'll see you out on the golf course and see you next season.
Absolutely. Watch out for me on the golf course, especially if you're ahead of me.